We gather today to mourn the loss of so many lives and celebrate those who saved them, honor those who survived, and contemplate the obligations of the living. It is the grimmest of ironies that one of the most savage, barbaric acts of evil in history began in one of the most modernized societies of its time, where so many markers of human progress became tools of human depravity. Science that can heal, used to kill. Education that can enlighten, used to rationalize away basic moral impulses. The bureaucracy that sustains modern life, used as the machinery of mass death. A ruthless, chillingly efficient system where many were responsible for the killing, but few got actual blood on their hands. The Holocaust was driven by many of the same forces that have fueled atrocities throughout history. The scapegoating that leads to hatred and blinds us to our common humanity. The justifications that replace conscience and allow cruelty to spread. The willingness of those who are neither perpetrators nor victims to accept the assigned role of bystander, believing the lie that good people are ever powerless or alone, the fiction that we do not have a choice. We are awed by your acts of courage and conscience, and your presence today compels each of us to ask ourselves whether we would have done what you did. We can only hope that the answer is yes. That is the question of the righteous, those who would do extraordinary good at extraordinary risk, not for affirmation or acclaim or to advance their own interests, but because it is what must be done. They remind us that no one is born a savior or a murderer. These are choices we each have the power to make. They teach us that no one can make us into bystanders without our consent, and that we are never truly alone. That if we have the courage to heed that still, small voice within us, we can form a minyan for righteousness. It can span a village, even a nation. How do we ensure that never again isn't an empty slogan or merely an aspiration, but also a call to action? I believe we start by doing what we are doing today, by bearing witness, by fighting the silence that is evil's greatest co-conspirator. And General Eisenhower made a decision. He ordered Germans from the nearby town to tour the camp so they could see what had been done in their name. And he ordered American troops to tour the camp so they could see the evil they were fighting against. Then he invited congressmen and journalists to bear witness, and he ordered that photographs and films be made. Some of us have seen those same images, and they never leave you. Eisenhower said that he wanted to be in a position to give firsthand evidence of these things, if ever in the future there develops a tendency to charge these allegations merely to propaganda. Eisenhower understood the danger of silence. He understood that if no one knew what had happened, that would be yet another atrocity, and it would be the perpetrator's ultimate triumph. That's what the Holocaust Museum does every day on our National Mall, the place where we display for the world our triumphs and failures and the lessons we've learned from our history. It's the very opposite of silence. To this day, there are those who insist the Holocaust never happened, who perpetrate every form of intolerance, racism and anti-Semitism, homophobia, xenophobia, sexism, and more, hatred that degrades its victim and diminishes us all. Today and every day, we have an opportunity as well as an obligation to confront these scourges, to fight the impulse to turn the channel when we see images that disturb us, or wrap ourselves in the false comfort that others' sufferings are not our own. Instead, we have the opportunity to make a habit of empathy, to recognize ourselves in each other, to commit ourselves to resisting injustice and intolerance and indifference, in whatever forms they may take, whether confronting those who tell lies about history or doing everything we can to prevent and end atrocities. That is my commitment as president. I hope that is yours as well. The willingness of those who are neither perpetrators nor victims to accept the assigned role of bystander, believing the lie that good people are ever powerless or alone, the fiction that we do not have a choice. The willingness of those who are neither perpetrators nor victims to accept the assigned role of bystander, believing the lie that good people are ever powerless or alone, the fiction that we do not have a choice.